Someone asked me if I can explain my nitro usage, and it's quite a complex thing. There's one sort of nitro usage for time trials, there's one type for multiplayer, and even within multiplayer there's a different type of nitro usage for slipstream to a regular trial series or standard classic multiplayer. I think one of the simplest things to start with is to talk about how I evolved in how I use my nitro. And I think I learnt most with the Corvette GS, but a similar car, D-Class car, is the Lotus Elise. So they're very easy TouchDrive cars, they're very forgiving, they reach their top speed very quickly. This means that you often reach the top speed and have lots of nitro left over. And so it immediately teaches you the first rule of good nitro management is to turn it off when you reach your top speed. So the top speed of this car is 282. When you reach it, if you turn it off, the car decelerates a bit. But the moment you turn the nitro back on, it returns to 282. So your nitro's going down slower, but you're kind of effectively still remaining at 282 if you turn it on and off. So just doing that movement when you're at top speed. You can turn it off for longer periods if you like, to make sure you have more nitro for a certain corner in the future. But the first thing to learn is just turn it off when you get to top speed. Second thing is in the air. So in the air this car has a top speed of 363. So the same rule applies in the air. Turn it off when you reach the top speed. And then in addition, when you're flying in the air, you accelerate. It's not going to be another ramp to be honest, actually the final ramp. So if I don't use nitro over this ramp, you see I don't accelerate when going up, but the moment you go into descent in the jump, you start accelerating again. So one of my rules is I always turn the nitro off at the apex of a jump before you go into descent, because you'll accelerate anyway with gravity and you don't need to waste your nitro. So I say try and use the Lotus Elise or the Corvette GS to practice the turning off your nitro when at top speed. Then there's more complex cars. So for example, the Alfieri. There's cars with much shorter nitros that take a lot longer to get to top speed. You still have the same rule of turn it off when you get to top speed, but there's a lot more to think about when driving round. So because its handling's good, it won't lose speed in a corner. And you want to use the nitro to take it through corners, not out of them. So this one's a bit sharp, so I'll do that, but I pulse the nitro even when not at top speed, because it means I have nitro available in the future. So you want to keep your nitro bar as high as you can. The only time you don't need any more nitro is when you get to the finish. Perfect Nitro has much more control. He's screwed up my lap. Perfect Nitro has much more control in corners. So if you're using blue nitro, you can corner faster than any of the other nitros. Shockwave can cause your back to spin out on a sharp bend. And orange nitro has its purposes as well. So to get out of a corner, if you are drifting into a corner and you don't have shockwave available to you, orange nitro is very good. And I also think orange nitro is optimal when launching off a ramp rather than perfect nitro or yellow nitro. So again, with the B class, a great car to practice on is the Corvette. So this Corvette GS, very forgiving, but you can learn how to do good nitro usage. The Apex is a perfect nitro car, and they behave more like Asphalt 8 cars. There's the Apex, the D-Class Nissan, the Vanda Dendrobium. They're all special perfect nitro cars. I made another video about them. But let's do a B-Class race in the Apollo. The B-Class car I'm worst at driving. So nitro management's really important with this car. It hasn't got as long a nitro. And you want to have the nitro to go through corners with. So if I go right here as an example and just press the nitro as I go through the corner, there was no need to drift there. Same with this bend. I'm only using drift now because I ran out of nitro. And then shockwaving to compensate for drifting. See, I shouldn't drift like that there. And if I do drift, I have to at least make sure I get to shockwave point to compensate for the drift. See here again, just nitro through the corner. Here I'm just doing, oh, I missed the nitro bottles. Save nitro for the boost on the jump. A car with great handling but short nitro is actually really good for slipstream mode. So if I move on to a A-class car but on credits heist race, let's try. Hopefully the cops won't ruin it too much. Go straight to the Pagani. The Pagani is only marginally harder to drive than something like the Huracan. Say the Corvette's easier, then the Huracan, then the Pagani. Using nitro at the beginning just for KDs. Changing to orange off the jump. Shockwaving. Perfect nitro through the bend. Starting to drift because I was close to shockwave. Just so that when I hit this ramp, shockwave off a ramp is always fastest. I like running out here, 360ing, shockwaving, hitting that ramp. Cops slowed me down. Forgot we're in cops. when cops are around, I normally try and keep my nitro bar near the top so I can always shockwave to KD them. And I deactivated nitro then, even when I wasn't at top speed, because I needed to save some for the next corner. So sloppy lap, but 4 seconds inside the 6-star time. So I've got to finish off with an S-Class car. And the Egoista is the TouchDrive friendly S-Class car that would be nice to use. But something a little more awkward for Nitro is the Bugatti. If you use your nitro up early with an S-Class car, you won't get it to its top speed. It takes a long time to get to top speed, and using the nitro early doesn't really improve the acceleration that much. Using the nitro in the air gives you a massive boost. And you need to use the nitro through the corners. There'll be a lot more time you spend just letting the car coast with an S-Class. I wanted to hit him. Much harder to use your nitro correctly. But a big aspect as well of Asphalt is learning to adapt and recover when things go wrong. That's a big part of multiplayer driving, and I think that's why they've put the cops into the credits race, to make us more reactive to things that happen in the race. So I'll go over my points. I think you should practice with the Lotus Elise and the Corvette GS and the Huracan. Always turn off your nitro when you reach top speed. Deactivate your nitro when you're in the descent in the air. When you're in a jump and you start going down, turn it off. Use orange nitro to go off jumps if you can't shockwave off jumps. And use perfect nitros to go through corners rather than out of corners. If you're forced to drift heavily and lose speed in a race, try and reach the shockwave point so you can compensate for drifting. And then remember, there are a few other cars that behave differently. So this Leaf Nismo, the Vanda Dendrobium, which is somewhere here, and the Apex. I'll try and make other videos for multiplayer nitro usage, because it's more about defense there. You need to have nitro ready to defend, and you can allow cars to push you and waste their nitro. But thanks for listening. I'm madder than you.